Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vobes show. Your host is just getting into his outfit, and we'll be here in a moment for you. Meanwhile, enjoy a little bit of comedy music. Thank you very much. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi Showbie on the 30th of September 2020. It's something like 8 o'clock in the evening, or more or less. Oh, we might be a minute late. Oh well, never mind. On the repeat, we are available at whatever time you want us to be, which is marvellous. And have we got an action-packed show for you tonight? No, we haven't. But we're going to do our best to muddle through the next hour and make up some sort of old nonsense so that you are slightly amused and maybe bemused. If you've never seen the show before, don't forget you give us a thumbs up before you even know what the show is about. That is the nature of the beast, and that is the beast of nature. And if you've got any of the two and you've mixed them together, goodness knows what's just crawled out of the bath. We habitually, at this sort of time in the show, say hello to everybody. So let's not dwell on anything else and say hello to the lovely Julia, to Ernie Samet, to Connor's Dark Corner, to lovely Judith, to Andrew Murphy, to Kerry Baldwin, to Kate Evans, and to Clive Waterfall. Many others are joining us all the time. Don't forget, you are welcome to join in the chitter-chatter by typing on the typing board. If you've got one of those, I don't know what a typing board is. It's probably a typing error. To Ron Langley, to Linda Kane, to John F., to Mike Dixon, to Andy English, or even English Andy. Could well be the other way around. Who knows? And Alan Sandell, Peter Lowry, and Rick Gordon. Always lovely to have you with us on the show this evening. It's so nice to see that such a regular crowd of enthusiastic Vobonauts out there in case we have an emergency. And of course, if there is an emergency, don't forget to break glass. Better than breaking wind, I find, because if the house is on fire and you do break wind, it may go up with a slightly bigger explosion than you first imagined. But hey-ho, any old port in a storm. Rami Boo has joined us, and the lovely Josephine Tudor. David Chown has also popped in, and Kate Evans says, I'm going horse riding tomorrow with my mam. I can't wait. Well, I hope your mam is all right on a horse. I've never ridden on a horse, I hasten to say. I think I've been on a donkey, but I've never sat on a horse or ridden or trotted or cantered. Or any of the other nouns, verbs, adjectives, whatever it is, that you do when you get onto a horse. I know that Nigel Sadler, I don't know if he's actually been on a horse, but he jolly well ought to, with a name like Sadler. Although, I suppose somebody like Sadler is somebody who makes the saddle for a horse, doesn't necessarily have to be on a horse. Has anyone else got a horse connection? Do tell us and let us know. If you've got a horse connection, we'd love to hear from you. Now, tonight, we are not overridden with videos. In fact, we got two. For a while there, I thought we had none. But now we've got two. So you get a little break from the incessant bald bloke who's desperately trying to crack jokes and look intelligent. And here is the first looking of intelligent from the bald bloke with said joke, bald pate and stuff. There will be more intelligent faces coming up on the show I'm sure. But probably when you ring in and I'm listening ever so intently. We do have a telephone number. You can give us a call. I will flash it on the screen. There it is. If you've got the number, then of course you can give me a ring. If you didn't get the number, then try 999. Always a good number, and say, help, help. There's a Jaguar trying to get through the door. I don't know whether the police drive in Jaguars, but if they did, then they may come to rescue you. No, the real number is 07934746790. But before we get to the phone calls, I want to ask you a story. Did any of you stay up last night to watch the American politicians, Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden, hacking it out on their television debate? I didn't. I'm not really into heavy American politics by any means, but I did watch a little bit of it whilst I was munching on my dinner. Made a lovely omelette, by the way, and I did it with cracking eggs, yeah. And I used up some yesterday's nonsense which was lying around, and I warmed that up and bunged it in the omelette. It was lovely, it was delicious and very nice, thank you very much. I'm afraid to say that these weren't ranging free eggs. The chickens might have been, but the eggs were stuffed in boxes, couldn't get out. They tried to, let me out. No, you're not allowed out. So when they say they're free-range eggs, don't believe them. They're all stuck in. You notice that all the eggs are all in their little sort of compartments, like prisoners trying to get out. Yep, they can't. They're inside and mummified, as I said earlier today in a thing, and somebody laughed, which was quite funny. It made me laugh anyway. So, yes, I watched a bit of it. It was interesting because I watched almost the whole thing. I watched at least 40 minutes of it. And then in the morning when I was having my breakfast, I was listening to the BBC when they were presenting it. And now, if I had only gone by what the BBC had said about this presidential thing with people stamping on each other's toes and talking over each other and all of that, yes, there was a little bit of that, but not as much, and not as much distemper as I was led to believe. The BBC really painted such an awful picture of the president's debate and saying that that Donald Trump was doing most of the bad work. But actually, watching it, I have to say that Mr. And now I've got no swing one way or another, and if I've got a swing one way, I would say it was in favour of Trump. I know that might surprise and turn people off, but we're all entitled to our own opinions, so don't start getting funny just because I think that Trump was better than Biden. They're both bad bunches, but actually Trump seems to have done quite a good job, although all the press will tell you otherwise. But Biden just had nothing to say. It was quite remarkable. It was as if somebody had written down in very big crayons the things that he had to stick to, very vague things, whereas Trump was very precise. And in fact, I thought he had things at the top of his command so much better than you normally get credit for, or he gets credit for. So I thought it was quite interesting. I don't know if anybody watched it, but I'm not interested in a huge debate about it. It's in somebody else's world, another world, although it is, they are the masters of the free world, apparently, unless the Democrats get in, and then we'll have more of this chaos and mayhem, which seems to be infesting America and then trying to get over here. But we don't want any of that. Thank you very much. We're all trying to hold on to this wonderful British English countryside and heritage and all the things that I like to hold my hand up and wave the flag for. Yes, says I did, says Alan Sandel. I'm in Texas. Wish I hadn't. Oh, right, fair enough. Mike Dixon says... Bella and I got soaked whilst going for a walk this evening, and it was freezing cold. Yes, it's definitely got a little bit chillier now, although not so cold tonight, I thought, but a lot wetter. I know what you mean. Andy English says, no, I'm not onto American politics. Don't worry, we're not going to be talking about it in the show. It's just I wanted to... It was the point I was really trying to make was just how the BBC... once again, seem to not really represent reality. Now, everybody can have their own agreement and disagreement with whatever politics and stuff, and we don't want to get sort of apolitical or not apolitical. We don't want to get one-sided or other. Everyone has got their own thing. But out of those two, you've got to make a choice if you're going to make a choice or have no interest. And I err on one way. I don't think the other one is any good. But I don't know. What do I know? I know nothing. I'm an ignoramus. But it was interesting just how the BBC was framing it. Turbo Stream says 2034. I don't know what those numbers mean. Is that part of the lottery number? So there we go. I used to have two horses at home, says Audrey. And one was sitting on the the sofa, and the other one was in an armchair. Oh, right. Worked with horses for 20 years at yards and farms. Do you know, I thought you were going to say at 2 yards, or six, was it 2 yards? At 6 feet away, so you didn't get COVID. Rick Gordon says, Gordon, Ellis and Steele, oh yes, no interest in US policies, slagging off each other. They are worse than, well, all politicians, let's face it, are the same. Who would want to be in politics anyway? I don't know, apart from presumably the money. Because you must have a very thick hide to go into politics. I wouldn't want to go into it because it's bad enough doing a YouTube channel. Anything you say, you're going to get people who disagree with you. And some people who disagree with you, not just disagree with you and can let it pass. Some people vehemently disagree with you and will send you emails and comments and threats. You know, there are people out there, not me particularly, but there are some people out there who get death threats and they get all sorts of abuse. And it is weird, isn't it? Because you just think it's just someone's got a different opinion. So what? Someone's got a different opinion. So what? Deal with it. It's life. If we didn't have difference of opinion, then everything would be dull and boring, wouldn't it? Kerry Baldwin says, defund the BBC. There you go. We need Trump to save the Western civilization, says John Post. I think we probably do. And Michael White says, I agree, Richard. Trump 2020. We won't overplay this because this is the Vobes show and we don't want to get over the thing because it does turn some people off, and some people have vehement, it's a good word that I like using that word. If you notice I've used it several times now, will have vehement ideas on this and vehement ideas, and I'm not here to change your ideas at all. Channel 4 are the same. Now, when it comes to television and UK television and how they frame things, yes, definitely. Certainly the BBC, because, well, I don't anymore, because I have actually defunded them personally because I'm not part of them. Although I gather that Charles Moore, is it Charles Moore? I think he's the historian, isn't he? He wrote various biographies. Am I right in thinking he's the same bloke who wrote the biography of Churchill? Or am I thinking of somebody else? But there is a very nice chap called Charles Moore. I think he's a Conservative. But I think he's been made the chairman of the BBC or of whatever the thing is that, is supposed to look down on the BBC. All these tiers of power, I don't know. Mindy says the only thing interesting in Trump is which shade of orange is he going to be each day? Well, that's very true. I wonder where he gets it from. It is strange, though. I wonder, that's a legitimate question. Where do you go to get that kind of orange? Because if it is, sun lamps and stuff, surely they would have made those a bit better by now, don't you think? I mean, nobody consciously thinks, oh, I want to be an orange person, unless, of course, they're a member of The Simpsons. Mike Dixon says, BBC, CNN, the most media ages hate Trump. I thought their role was to report the news. No, they've all got a slight bias. I mean, everybody's got a bias, everybody. But if you can minimise that bias, so be it. The two old men about my age are no smarter. What a choice, says Andrew Sandell. Well, that is true. I definitely think when you look at some of these people who are supposedly in power and they've got there, and you do think, surely there are better people. I mean, either, whichever side you're looking at, on both sides, surely there are better people. But maybe the better people have just thought better of it and thought, I don't want to get into this. I just don't want to get into it. And so then you're left with the likes of what we've got. Thing is, people do vote for them. So you can only blame the people. I mean, I voted for Boris. And now, apart from the Brexit thing, which is going the way I wanted it to, and I know people will disagree with that, but fair enough. But now I think, with all this COVID business, Boris has lost the plot a bit. All these lockdowns and what have you. And they, you notice how they're just talking about cases of COVID now. They're just talking about cases of it instead of, before it was deaths. And we had that at the beginning when in lockdown it was the death count and everyone's like, these are the people who've died. This is how full the hospitals are. Here are our, new hospitals that we've built in case we get overrun. Now they're not talking about deaths because nobody's actually dying, not in any significant numbers, and nobody can actually be proved that it was COVID. Obviously, there are a few, and it's a sweeping statement, but nothing like. So you've got loads and loads of cases, but of course, a lot of those people, and somebody sent me very kindly the statistics that I've been asking for is how many people who get affected recover, and it's something like 99.9, not 9, but 99.1 or 2 or 3%. 99%. People who get it get over it. So that's what we should be saying. We should be telling people that yes, it's a serious thing. Yes, of course it is a serious thing. Use a bit of common sense. Don't go up to people who are coughing and spluttering. Keep your distance and all that kind of stuff. Of course, yes. But we shouldn't be frightening people. Now, I know people. I have a very good friend who's absolutely terrified of this situation. And it's such a shame. He'll never get it. Probably, and if he does, he probably won't be affected. And yet he's absolutely terrified, and it's a shame. It's the damage that is being done by people not being able to. It's as if the government doesn't actually trust people to use their common sense. And clearly, there are people who don't use their common sense. But even you can legislate for people to do things, and they're still not doing it. So what's the point? The people who value their own health and want to look after themselves are going to do it anyway. That's my argument. I have a glass of Orangina, please. Will you? Are you talking about the puppet show in the US? No, I was talking about our Peep show, actually, with Walter Wilkinson's. I went out today, actually, and I was following in his footsteps. I don't know if you don't know what I'm talking about. We had a lovely session this afternoon. Lovely session reading our live book called A Sussex Peep Show, which is this guy called Walter Wilkinson who's written this book about his experiences trudging around England. And in this particular book, he goes around Sussex. Lovely, beautifully written, some fantastic phrases, and we were following on the map where he went. It was just sensational. I can't think personally of a better way to sit down at 4 o'clock in an afternoon and listen to some bald bloke telling this amazing story and then bringing up maps for us to follow. I mean, it was just incredible. And billions of people have missed out, which is a bit of a shame, really. But there you go. Kerry Baldwin says, so far, Richard, I have not disagreed with anything you said. Thank you very much. I'm sure that I will say something that you will disagree with, because most people end up usually spitting and what is another thing that people do? Spit and vehemently in disagreement with me. But that's, it's life. Sacrifice the country to save the NHS. That's right. Yes, of course, Elfwald were quite right. Now, Elfwald is an interesting character. We have a video from him. He has been somewhere where I would love to go. I have been up some high places, but we're going to see in his video today. Fantastic. Thank you for sending it in. Absolutely smashing scenery. Saying that now because I don't want people to disappear. Rants in his pants, says Ed Loud. Hello, Ed. Lovely to see you there. Yes, always nice to have a bit of a midweek rant, if one can. Get it out early. That's what I say. So far, Kerry? Haha, says Ron Langley. Well, that's true, of course. Mike Stevens says, if Boris made an announcement today saying that all restrictions are over and the government has made a huge mistake, wouldn't the majority of people in the UK support him? Now, that is a very interesting comment, because governments don't like to admit they've got it wrong. But isn't there something in the human psyche that if you say, do you know what? I'm sorry. We've ballsed up. We've got this wrong. If people say that and they genuinely mean it, and I'm sure Boris could mock what's the word? Not sensibility, sincere, whatever the thing is. I'm sure that he could do it, in a genuine way. But if the government did, like you say, turn around and say, do you know what? I think we've got it wrong. We do want people to look after themselves. We do want people to be safe. But actually, we trust you. And if you're feeling a bit rough, then go and get it checked out. We've got all the traces and the checks and all of that. But we don't need to legislate, and we don't need to act like it's 1984. We don't need to pretend we're Big Brother or the Russian state circus or any such thing. But actually, we're just asking you to do the right thing. If you put it in those terms, I'm sure most people will go, yeah, actually, because let's face it, and I've made this comment so many times in real life, when you see someone who's sneezing or they're coughing their guts up, you don't tend to go and hug them, do you? You see someone coughing, you automatically just come back from them because whatever it is they've got, even if it's the common cold or a fly up their nostril, you don't want it. And I know there's that whole argument about, what people can be carriers and what have you. So what? But ultimately, we're going to have to live with this thing. We can't keep hiding it. And the more we push it back into the winter when most people will have all the colds and everything, the worse it's going to be, because suddenly we'll be saying, well, anybody who's got an ordinary cold or an ordinary fever or influenza, you can't use the hospitals now because we're overrun with these potential false positives. If I hear anyone go on about false positives again, I think I'm going to slice my ears off. Ed Cloud says, so right. I don't know what to think about common sense is it's not common. Well, I don't know how true that is, because I think that, yes, of course, there's people who haven't got much common sense. And let's face it, we're not being given the chance to grow and develop our sense of common sense. But I think people do have common sense. I think that everything gets skewed because you're always being reported about the things that are interesting, and the things that are interesting are the things that go against the grain, not the things that actually, Mrs. Jones managed to get to the shops and get home. Well, no one's going to listen to that. But if Mrs. Jones walks out in front of a bus and the bus veers into a wall and kills 3 people, well, of course that becomes news. But Mrs. Jones just getting to the shop and coming back, all, regardless of the fact she's got a gammy leg and she's got a bit of tennis elbow and ping pong knees, that doesn't make the news. So I think it does get slewed, and that people do have more common sense than we do give credit to. Alan Sandel says, I love Sussex. I'm biased, of course. Yes, Sussex is a very beautiful county, I have to say. But there are other counties that are beautiful too. And part of my quest for England is to try and find them. What else have we got here? He had a huge respect if he did. I think he would. Because they don't do that, do they? Have you noticed when it comes to all the party political broadcasts you always get told what the other party are going to be like. Oh, they're miserable, they're going to tax you this way, and they're not going to look after that, or they've got no money. They always talk about what the other people are doing, bit of scaremongering. But I'm convinced if you just said, look, I don't know what the other people are going to do. Actually, they're going to do their best. They're going to do their best. I just don't agree with their policies. I don't agree with their ideology. And this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do my level best, just as they're going to do their level best. And hopefully you're going to agree with my ideas. But you might like the other people. That's fair enough. It's a free country. But these are my ideas. And I've worked on them very hard. And we've got a whole team of people. And, you can count on the support from this, and this. But they're doing their best. It's not the way we do things. I think if people spoke more like that and were a bit more respectful about their partners, people would think, do you know what? That bloke keeps just saying everybody else are idiots, whereas this bloke is at least treating everyone with respect. I think he's a bit nicer. He's a bit nice. I think I trust him. Because who's going to trust the bloke who slags everybody else off? Why would you trust him? Because it seems that he just slags people off. That's the way he gets on. Days of Yore is got some monkey faces. Excellent. I don't know what they mean, but it's probably the 3 brass monkeys, is it? He may have got it wrong, but this is what they want, says Elfwold. Well, I think they are run by focus groups, but I don't know that that's really what they want. Vulnerable people can shelter themselves and the rest can get on with their lives, says Mike Stevens. I tend to agree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense. This is masking something else. Excuse my pun, says Michael White. I don't know if I don't know if these people are clever enough to have a conspiracy going on. I think that's all a bit of a white horse, really. I mean, a lot of people think there's some sort of conspiracy going on, but you look at the way they run governments and they run departments and slag each other off and what have you. I don't know that they could keep it together to run something that's bigger and more mysterious. I don't know. Paul Smith says, completely agree with you there. He didn't make much mistake of his. He didn't make a mistake. He misspoke. Oh, and who was the first person to do I misspoke? Diane Abbott, as far as I remember, when she couldn't add up how many police they were employing, which I have to say, of all the interviews I've ever seen, and this is a sweeping statement because there's probably other interviews, but the most memorable interview I've ever seen is Diane Abbott being questioned by the chap from LBC. What's his name? It's just it was in my mind a few seconds ago. Who is very good on occasions, questioning her. How many policemen? Diane Abbott? That was the most absolutely hilarious. Oh, can you imagine if she'd been in as Home Secretary? Oh my goodness. Yeah, we would have had at least 3 new policemen. John Post says, do you know that the world's most popular YouTube PewDiePie lives just a few miles from you in Hove? I didn't know that. I have heard his name, but I think he's a gamer, isn't he? I don't really know what he does. And I don't, and what kind of, and for all I know, my neighbour is an international singer of stage and screen who's been in more films than I don't get out much really. At Home with Mindy, it says, I'm mainly worried about the fines as there's so much. Yes, yes, I suppose. Well, this is the reason we shouldn't have all this. They shouldn't have all this power. Have they? I don't know if they've done that vote. Did they do that vote today? Was it today they were doing the vote to stop the government just going carte blanche on changing things? Nick Ferrari, yeah, that's the one. Daisy, or Nick Ferrari. He talks a lot of common sense from time to time. Sometimes I think, what? But then they all do, don't they? They all say something. I mean, you can't agree with people 100% of the time. You really can't. And if you did, why? Surely you've got your own minds to be making up. I think we'll take a break, ladies and gentlemen, from the early sort of all this confusion and grey, and we'll get back to nonsense and silliness. I didn't really. It was just because I was watching the presidential thing. I just thought I ought to. I know people don't take much interest in politics and what have you. I just sometimes, every now and again, I'm not interested in football. To me, it's a game. It's just a game of grown men running around, kicking around thing, and people get very excited about it. Fine. I've got no problem with them doing that. It's entirely up to them, but I just don't have any interest in it. To me, it's, as I say, it's just people. It's a game. It's not important. It's not saving the world. However, you can say that, and that's the argument I do say, but other people say, well, it does bring some countries together, it does do good for the youth, and it does do this, that, and the other. And actually, you're right. And because it does that, I'm not slagging it off. It's just not for me. But I think a lot of these, I'm not really into sports. I'd rather have a go. I'd rather go and have a kickabout than actually watch any other people kick about. But then I'm somebody who likes to get on and do things. And I think there's people who like to get on and do things, and there's those people who like to watch other people do things. And thank God there is, because in the world of things like YouTube, otherwise, if everybody was a YouTuber, there'd be no consumers. We need consumer tubers, whatever they can. If you consume too many tubers, of course, you'd be a bit carbohydrate full, because I think tubers are potatoes, aren't they? If everyone remembers him, says Barry Hughes. Barry Hughes, Barry Hughes, who are you? Oh, I cough, but then again, I do not smoke a lot. I do smoke a lot. And I'm a bit confused as to where that came from. But hey, I'm reading the comments out of context. Yes, I remember Kenny Everett. Oh, Kenny Everett, he was a genius, wasn't he? Wasn't he marvellous in his day and age? I think Edward Everett Morton was funnier than Kenny, says Mike Stevens. And who is Edward Everett Morton? Never heard of him, but perhaps he's somebody I ought to know about. I want to have a rant about razors, but we're going to have a video first. It's time to go to Pembrokeshire, and the lovely Adrian from TurboStream, as you know, has been sending us these wonderful little postcard videos from down in Pembrokeshire on the coast there. And we've seen him stand by craggy rocks with blue sea, and we've seen him stand by blue sea with craggy rocks. Well, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see some sea that might be blue and rocks that potentially are craggy. So stand by to feast your eyes.
Well, welcome to part 3 of my little mini tour of Pembrokeshire. I don't know what you can see because I can't see anything because the sun's in my eyes. But this is Stack Rock. I'm going to go the right way, that way. I'm not used to all this filming lark, so you forgive me. Anyway, let's not look at me, let's look at the view. As you can see, we've still got a fantastic evening. It's a bit further up the coast from where I was before. St Govern's Head. I argue that this is probably more beautiful. Normally in the spring, this rock is covered with guillemots, but obviously in September they're flown and they've gone away. I absolutely love it here. The views are just unbelievable. Don't you wish you were here now? I could look at this view for hours upon hours. So the next thing we're going to look at the Green Bridge of Wales, which is just behind me. There we go. The Green Bridge of Wales. Once again, I apologise for my shadow in the left of the picture. But you can see there a natural stone arch. Again, normally in spring these are covered in guillemots. There's a rock down there to the right, which I presume was part of the headland at one time. That's normally full of guillemots. And I think puffins as well. I'm hoping you can hear the waves. The most relaxing spot in Wales that not many people know of. Right, with that, it's back to the studio.
I don't know whether you're implying that there's seaweed in here drying, but wasn't that fantastic? When you said that you could sit there or stand there with your shadow in shot looking at it for hours, I had a sneaky feeling that maybe we were going to. But you could make DVDs, couldn't you? I'm sure people download videos or watch on YouTube an hour in a view like that and just stick it on their big telly to help them feel like they're out there. And the sound effects were brilliant. I loved that. I thought that was really great. When you said, I hope you can hear the waves, I thought for a moment you said, I hope you can hear the whales. And I was waiting for the singers up a mountain with leek and sheep in very dodgy position. Oh, no, I mean whales in the sea, not Welshmen, with all the stereotype jokes added to them because they don't like it much. Stunning views and great sounds. Thanks, TurboStream, says Andrew Norris in Croatia. Ron Langley says, thanks, lovely Julia. Thanks. Seaweed is awesome. Garden, fertiliser and compost, says Mike. Days of yours noticed the nice bluiness. Did you notice the craggy rocks? I may have given you a prompt there where to look, but they certainly were in that. And I know that Adrian, when we met up some time ago, said he was going to go out in his lovely camper van and do some more roving reporting. So if you've got a suggestion of a place for him to go, I'm sure he'll ignore it. But he may listen and he may go there because he's spent a lot of money on that, and I'm spending a lot of money on my van, actually. Now, I know that the lovely Paul is out there. I mention that because he is the one who is selling me the van for an incredible 52p, although he thinks it's a little bit more, and I think my bank manager thinks it's a little bit more, so maybe it is a little bit more. Maybe I'm just saying it's 52p in case I have a heart attack. But yes, I'm hoping to go up, and it seems that we've got Mr. Suggett on board as the driver of the taxi that's going to take me up north of Harrogate, ladies and gentlemen, where I gather it's in the northeast, where Harrogate isn't in the northeast, but some people seem to think it is, where they're having a little bit more of this sort of lockdown COVID nonsense. But I don't think there's any problems up in Harrogate, because, you know, if you've got any problems in Harrogate, you just take to the waters, don't you? There's a lovely spring up there. It's about 52 coils, and I don't know what the tonnage per square inch is, but it's, as a spring goes, it's lovely, especially in the morning. Everybody likes a good spring morning, don't they? Anyway, jokes aside, going up to have a look, and potentially everything's all set, but it sounds too good to be true, apart from the money disappearing out of my bank. But other than that, I could be back with this van. I've been dreaming about this van, been dreaming about the things I can do. It better be bloody good at the end of this. I mean, not so much the van, but the things I do with the van. All this I've been promising myself. He's got a toilet in it, you see. And how many times have I rocked up somewhere? I'm not going to tell you how many times, pretty much every time. It doesn't matter how many times you go, stand in front of the bowl and you squeeze the bladder out and you go, that's it, I'll be all right. And you're not having another drink, and I'll get in the car for an hour, and you turn up, get the camera out, ready to film, and you go, oh, I wish there was somewhere. I've got to find a tree now. And of course, the trees are going here. Don't look at me, mate. I'm not wanting any of your pollutants. Thank you. So that'd be absolutely amazing. I can go in there and sort out my business, as it were, and then brilliant. So I'm really looking forward to that, and all the other things that go with it, which is superb. It's very nice. And so thank you very much, Paul. You are a gem, a gentleman, and a star. So looking forward to going up and doing that. Now, before we get to our next motion picture blockbuster, ladies and gentlemen, there's some stars just to keep you amused for a second. I meant to plug the number on there. 07934746790 is the number if you wish to give me a call and talk about any subject under the sun. But whilst you're thinking about dialing, I want to tell my lovely son, bought me a razor for my birthday. One of these very expensive, razors that shaves a man so close his skin comes off. One of those. And it was brilliant. It was brilliant. I'll give you that. It was very good. It's got one of those flexible heads on it, and you do this and you do that and you do the other, and it takes the hair off, no problem at all, and it's lovely and it's smooth and what have you. Now, I've been using these disposables. I won't mention the name in case of advertising in the past, and they are okay, but they're a bit rough, and sometimes you cut yourself, and sometimes it's a bit red, and sometimes it's a bit awkward, and they blunt up and you can't get 20 goes out of them and all of that, and you end up throwing them. But they're only like a quid or a couple of quid, and some are regular and some are sensitive, and I'm quite sensitive. I am sensitive when it comes to cutting my throat. And I went to buy some more of these very nice posh ones. And I went into the supermarket at the back of my house, and I noticed that just for four attachments, they wanted 12 quid. £12 for four. And I bought it. I thought I might be able to get 10 for a tenner, but no. It just seems, why are shavers? I mean, it's because they can be. It's because people are willing to pay it. Clearly, I know the reason. There's no point asking. But why so expensive? Whereas they are good, but there's something in me that just goes, I cannot part with 12 quid just to shave my chin. It seems an absurdly expensive amount of money just to shave the chin. Now, I've often toyed with the idea of getting a proper cutthroat razor, and I would like to know if anyone's had any experience of a proper cutthroat razor, which clearly is going to cost me a little bit more money, and that little bit of whatever it is that you go like this in the morning and you lather yourself up and zip, 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 whoop, oh, slice the jugular. Has anyone had any experience? And what is it like? Is there a special technique? Well, there must be a technique, but what is it like? And also, so obviously all the women who use it, please give us a call. But what about over the top of the head? See, I'm a bit unshaven today. You can probably see. I'm a bit unshaven today because I haven't used them yet. So that's what I want to know. Can I cutthroat razor my head? Because it grows out here, you see. I've often thought maybe I should just let it grow out here and then whisk it out like some mad professor. Obviously not the best, look if I'm down the nightclubs trying to sort of smooch with the ladies, which, as you can probably imagine, after every show, I'm out there on the game, doing shimmying my shimmy, or whatever it is they call it these days, putting the chains round my neck and getting the old ear piercings back on, and the thing that goes in, the tooth piercing. They always look good, a big bolt through your tooth. and I get a sort of a big butterfly wheel in my ears. I have something. I even because I've got a false eye, I can get that pierced. That looks a little, it's a sort of great big button on the end of the eye, which is a shame because piercing your eyelid is quite tricky, and then you thread it through, and you little sucker. Those little guns that your kids have that have those little stalks with a little sucker on the end, and they can stick to your bald head. You ever had that done? They stick to the windscreen of your car or whatever. Well, I can actually stick one to my eye. In fact, when I went to when I went to Moorfields, it's a subtle difference, by the way, between Morrison's and Moorfields Eye Hospital. Not a lot, but Moorfields Eye Hospital don't tend to sell food. But when I went there and you're having the eye done, they do have those little bullet things to stick on your eye so they can pull them in and out. It's most weird. If anyone's got a false eye, you could verify that. All good fun. Linda Kane doesn't like that because we're talking about the eye. But yes, piercing the eyelid, not such an easy job. But what they do is, because you can get this done professionally, is with a hole punch. Yeah, you lift up the eyelid like that, get a hole punch underneath, click, and it's done in a jiffy. It's excruciatingly painful, and you probably end up with surgery and stitches at the end of it. But it's got to be worth doing. Let's have a look at the comments. Good to have you back, guys. Again, B&F. Barry Stevens. Hello, Barry. Oh, yes, Barry Stevens. Nice to see you. How is Barry and Faden? Nice to see you. Thank you for coming along. Connor's Dark Corner says, I shave. I won't be able to for another 2 years. It takes me forever to grow it, and it doesn't grow fully. Oh, that's odd. I wish mine was like that. Just grow a beard. Oh, I hate these beards. Hate the beards. Can't grow a beard. Didn't Ed Loud used to use a cutthroat? Yes, I think he did, actually. He mentioned that. I just use a stubble razor. A stubble razor? What's a stubble razor? I've tried an electric razor. They're no good either. They just seem to sort of clobber the ends of the bristles. Not quite sure what's with it. Saved hundreds with it, says Andy. What is a stubble razor? Please, can you tell? I mean, is that a thing? Should I look that up? A stubble razor? Is that, I don't know, I've never, is that something farmers use? When they've cut the crops and you've just got all that stubble? Is that like some big, you don't got to run a tractor over your face? Am I looking for a product that's got a red tractor on to say, yeah, this is safe to run over your head? A stubble razor, stubble razor. Let's see what comes up. Oh, beard and oh, I see. Oh, like as in a beard. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Argus apparently sell them. Oh, I see. Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. Look, have a little quick bit of Argus catalogue advertising. It's always a good moment in the show when we do a little bit of shopping now, ladies and gentlemen. What should we buy? This looks interesting. Shall we have a look at the pictures? Here we go. Here's a picture. £59.99. It says he saves hundreds of money with it. There's that. You see, look, that's the thing I'm talking about. One of these. And those attachments on that bit there was for 4 of them, 12 quid. There must be, I mean, I did think about going to eBay and seeing if there was any second-hand ones out there. Or maybe there's a way of sharpening them. That would be useful. So you could use them more than once. You go like this. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, and wherever else you want to do it. And it blunt as a lady's thing. So not so good. A big gold chain with a dollar sign on it. That's what I have one of those in my collection when I'm out on the town, on the pull. And actually the women come up to me and they see the big gold chain and they go, I said, do you flush? I said, when you pull that, I will. Mandy says, I think those 2 razors are from 50s, Connor. Oh, right. I bought very expensive electric razor, but it's absolutely rubbish, says Mike Dixon. There you go. Men are talking now, see? Experience. Women like to whiz them up and down their legs. Maybe a lady shave would be the thing. Because, women have smooth legs, don't they? Maybe men are just using the wrong kind of shavers. Maybe women have got all the decent shavers. Mark Donny McLeod says there's a thing called a sweepstake this evening. I don't know what that is. Oh, you mean about who's going to ring in? Because nobody's betting, I suppose. You could play the Battle of Hastings death scene, says Nigel Sadler. Yes, with with broadswords. That would be good. You need someone to be doing it with you, and I don't really want sort of chunks out of my head. Rolls Razor Viscount model sold to someone on the... What does that mean? Rolls Razor Viscount model. Don't think so, MDM. Robert is on holiday. Linda Kane says, a razor that leaves you with stubble, a bit of an oxymoron. Oh, I see, yes. Oh, it leaves you with the stubble. I thought you meant the stubble was... I don't want the stubble. I mean, I've got stubble now. Don't like it. I wondered, people have, they use whatever it was, I forget what that cream that's supposed to burn it all off. I wondered if there was something one could do so that it just never grows back. What's the point? If you could get rid of the roots, if you could get to the root of the problem, it would be great. 5 stars, tiptoes, 12 quid goes to pay for the adverts. Yes, I'm not at all surprised if they didn't have to. iMac. Yes, there we are. I went to an iMac cinema once. That was a close shave, I can tell you. Nigel Sadler says, got there in the end, Andrew Norris. Yes, tiptoes. I struggle, Nigel. Alan Sandell says, got hair trimmer recently so as not to go to the COVID shop. Brilliant. Should have done it decades ago. Hair trim. Oh, what is this one? One of those. Why do they make that noise? That sort of real deep vibratory noise. Lid clean razor, refills cheaper and effective, says Matt Dow. Thank you very much. Oh, Lidl, of course. Lidl Cyan razor. Is it chin? Chai? How do you pronounce? I hate it when they put 2 vowels together. I never quite know what that means. We've got 5 vowels in the English language. A, E, I, O, U. Why do they bother putting 2 different vowels together? Because then I don't know what that means. I never understand that. It's like I. Is that cyan? Cyan. Sounds like some sort of supersonic bee going around. Very odd. I knew what you were getting at, says Linda Kane. I had no idea what you're talking about. Josephine Suter says, I now use waxing strips. You can buy them and they work well on the legs. Maybe. But if they work well, why does the hair grow back? Why does it grow back? Once you've done your Brazilian on your face, will it ever go back? Laser hair treatment, Richard, or electrolysis. Yes, I've heard about these TENS machines. Buy cheap razors on eBay. Yes, but I hate bad spelling, says Linda. It's foreign, says Linda. It's foreign. Get some laser hair removal treatment. There's no need to shave again. Will cost a fortune. I don't want it to cost a fortune. I don't want it to cost a fortune. All this. Anyway, that was my rant. So I've gone back to these. As lovely as it was to have it as a present on my birthday. And to be honest with you, my birthday was the end of July, August, September. So 2 months I've had this one razor with this one attachment. And now, as I go like this, half of my face shifts, it hooks onto something and it seems to drag the skin with it. So I've had to throw that attachment away, and I went to buy some new ones, as I said, and it's just 4. I suppose if I can make them last 2 months, that's 4, that's 8 months, isn't it? I suppose that's not a bad price. If I can make them last 2 months, that is, I am the, one of the members of the Skinflint Brigade. Because it was very useful to do it, but I will put myself through hell using less good ones, and because I have to go all the way round, and do the eyebrows and the eyelids, and especially the little little hairs on the eyelids. They're difficult. You need Wilkinson's sword, but I think Wilkinson won't let me have it. He won't let me have it. Anyway, nobody's given me a ring on 0793 474 6790, so I'm taking it off. You can't ring now. You try ringing that number. You won't get through. Eric, turn the switchboard off. There we are. We've got the. You won't be able to get through. You can try. You can struggle. You can dial the number. Won't get through. And anyway, I wouldn't bother because we're 10 to the hour, ladies and gentlemen. I've somehow managed to almost fluff my way through this hour. with absolute nonsense, but hey-ho. We're going away at the end of the week on Saturday, so Friday will be the last show, and then there'll be no shows the following week because the lovely Julia and I are lifting up the anchor and sailing on the seven seas. Not even the River Severn, we're on the Thames, don't you know? We're starting at London Bridge, and unfortunately it fell down, so we're going to go a little bit further up towards Oxford. Ed Wolf, I don't know, you change your name, Aylwood, Wolf, whatever your name is. By the way, I've noticed in your videos that, great as they are, there's this bloke who somehow always gets in, like, just fiddling with the camera at this point, staring ahead, just doing my Alfred Hitchcock, looking straight at the camera. Oh, I'm in it. It's obviously your signature. It's obviously your signature moment. So watch out for this stranger. I don't know who he is, but whoever he is, he gets in each of the videos. It's great. Love it. And this is up on the Lake District on some of the amazing scenery. It's almost, I have to say, almost as good as the South Downs, although not quite as undulating and a bit more rocky outcrops. But otherwise, it could be the same place. Could be. No, it's lovely. Very nice. Enjoyed it very much, and you will too. How about that, eh? How about that? I've got to get myself up there when I get my van. When I get my van, I'll be able to go up there and have a snooze. Take the van right up to, that bit that looked like it was, one of those things that opens envelopes. It was that sharp and falls away. I'm going to take my van and park right up there. Apparently I can do that. And, that's absolutely wonderful. What stunning scenery to be seen up there on that stunning place. And as Mike Stevens says, he says, the sharp edge is still there. Yeah. What did you expect it to be? Blunt now. It's blunt edge. It's blunt side. It's so many people have clambered over it. It's got a bit blunt, not a sharp. Maybe that's where I go to get my shaving done. Excuse me. So there he was. You noticed there was that very nice, handsome young devil getting into the picture. That was obviously Alf. What's his name? Elf Wald. Is that a character from a game? I've got to ask. He says, you said to include a picture so we know who you are. That's very true. It is true. It's my fault. Blame me. No, it's nice. I think you should keep that. I think in every video that you make, you should have a picture where you're looking intently at the screen so we know who you are. No, I think that's it's that, as I say, Alfred Hitchcock moment. I can't do that in my videos because I'm already in them. I can't, go in as suddenly be. It'd be great to be me in the front there going, hello, I'm Richard Vobes. And then another character comes in at the back going, that's me, obviously, and goes, no, I'm Richard Vobes. And then a further one pops out of a rabbit hole or something and goes, yep, what's up, Doc? I'm Richard Vobes. One of these days I'll have to try and make something like that. It'd be quite funny. Or not, as the case may be. So there we are. Look, just in case we missed it, Pembrokeshire. Good. Glad we got that out of the way. And I can get rid of our beard trimming. Thanks. Get rid of that. So, okay, let's just go back to the show here. No Sean James Cameron from London. No Glastonbury Gabriel. No phone calls. 0793 4746 if you want to give me a tinkle. As I said before, we're going to go away, so there's no videos from Saturday. But what I will do is I will be taking my phone so you can ring me. So that the lovely Julia or Joseph, possibly, and I will stand there and say, hello, we're on a canal boat in the pouring rain. We have a phone call, ladies and gentlemen. Now, don't fall over backwards with amazement. Hang on, I'm going to put my headphones on and find out. This is the moment where we find out if we have made a lot of money. Who's it going to be on the end of the line? Let's find out who it is. Now, I'm going to put a tenor on. It's Ed Loud. Is it Ed Loud?
No, your tenor's gone.
Oh, that's it. I don't know who I'm giving the tenor to now. Hello, caller.
Hello, caller. Yes. I say, is that the Vobes chap?
Yes, it is. Is that MDM?
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Nearly called you MDF then.
That's in the wooden period, you know.
Bless him. How are you, young Mark Donny McLeod?
I'm well on that, you know.
Yeah, how's your cycling? Because you've been cycling all through the summer.
Yeah, I've been cycling through the summer, and I'll be cycling through the winter too.
Oh, you're brave.
The thing is, I'm trying to work up a mileage thing to do a sponsored cycling thing.
Good.
So, in order to do so and get the mileage in,
yes,
you have to go out and do regular things. It doesn't matter what weather it is. You've got to get out there. Oh, so you're putting your headphones on now.
Yes. Oh, you're a bit behind. I'm actually talking to you now.
Yeah, so there you go. So,
yeah, I know. Wonders of modern technology.
Yeah. So what I'm going to try and do is I want to raise money for the people who helped me out when I was having problems, and they were very good people, and they deal with combat stress, etc. And they're very good people that help you through, get your head in the right place, etc. And years ago we didn't have these things, and a lot of people had problems, and now we do have them, and they're very good. You know, they help a lot of people out. So, and they saved a lot of lives.
So are you saying that you've had combat stress?
I did when I was younger, yeah.
Oh, did you? Give us a bit. I mean, that's, you've opened up a can of worms there, and I've got my nose well and truly in it, and they're going straight up. Oh, blimey, that's quite tickling. But tell us, what sort of combat stress did you have? How did it come about?
Through combat.
All right, good. Well, I'm glad we solved that one. That's marvellous. Do join in again next time for facetious conversations.
One day I might elucidate.
Oh, I see. No. If it's private, it's private. I mean, I understand. So you've got these guys. Is it a charity?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the name of the charity?
It's a charity run by ex-servicemen.
Yeah.
So it's called Combat Stress.
Oh, Combat Stress. That is the name of the charity. Okay.
The other one is called Help with Heroes. We do work between us in trying all that. And I hope the thing is to raise awareness that this is not just like for people who, like maybe had a problem with, in their lives through service to the Crown. It's also a situation whereby you might get people who have served as policemen or, ambulance drivers or doctors or something like that. And they've had to deal with incredible stressful situations.
Oh, golly. I mean, you think the things that they must deal with on a daily basis, and they just have to get on with it.
Yeah.
And luckily, the majority of us don't have to deal. The worst we have to deal with is like the mother-in-law is coming round, and we better spruce up the cushions.
Oh, that sounds terrible. Yeah.
Not that I have a mother-in-law anymore, fortunately, or indeed a mother. Come to that.
Well, Mine's still knocking about. She's still here. Dad's gone.
Ah.
But Mum's still knocking about. And she's doing all right, you know. She's had a problem with keeping the marbles. But, you know.
Well, if you will go and nick them all, then she will have a
yeah.
problem.
Yeah. Anyway, these things happen.
They do.
Do you have to go at 9 o'clock?
Not if you want to keep talking to me and keep me going. I get very lonely, you see, here in this little room.
I don't want to keep you up. You know?
No, don't worry about that.
Oh, look, it's Mr. Crozier.
What, Mr. Crozier?
Mr. Crozier from up in Leeds.
Has he arrived? We better shut down quick.
Yeah, he's there. Look, see, I've just seen him. Yeah. So I thought he was going off to find out how much a Greek earns.
To where?
To find out how much a Greek earns.
Oh yes, how much does a Greek earn?
About £2.50, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, something like that. Although at the moment, probably not very much because they can't open their Greek taverns because we're not allowed to.
The old CV19, yeah.
So have you got a bit of the old CV issues up north? Because they've been saying that there's a big spread of it.
Yes, we've had. Well, you see, the problem was everyone was doing quite well, you see. And then a couple of, so we call them celebrations of the year for certain people in particular, faith systems turned up. And just at that point, it seemed to, for some reason, spike here.
How extraordinary.
Yeah. It was really doing well. There was like hardly anything going on, and there were some areas like around Liverpool and that had a bit of problems. Some places in Manchester, but just around EID, this area, all the way going to Blackburn, Burnley, and other areas, Rochdale and all that, which have a high concentration of people from certain backgrounds. It spiked. It went through the roof, even though the mosques were closed. Yeah, it's strange that, but it all happened at the same time.
Yes, it is. I mean, we don't. In all of this, I mean, you would think down in the southeast, we're sort of highly concentrated number of people getting on the tubes and what have you, but it don't see. We don't. I mean, I know London got it very early on. And what have you? But now nobody goes on the tubes, do they? Although I think they do. I never quite know what to believe anymore until you've actually,
Well, see, the thing is, with the tubes, they did have those screens up, didn't they?
Did they?
Yeah, they apparently had screens on the platform, so that they had to stand back of the platform and stand behind these screens to let the people off the trains, off the tube, before other people could get on. And then you could only sit every other chair or something. I can't remember what it is. I know it's on the bus up here. They put crosses with yellow and black tape on the chairs. You can't sit here.
No, because there's a cross
by the window. And it's like, I want you to sit by the window unless you're with somebody of your own household. Make sure you have a face covering, or you will be thrown off the bus.
You see, most people are compliant, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they're so. I mean, this is where it goes back to the argument I said before. You don't need official laws passed. I think you can just ask people. Because I know when I used to do my entertainment stuff, we used to get booked. My friend Nigel and I used to get booked as dummy, not bouncers, but bouncers at the door, doorman, a comedy doorman.
Okay.
We would dress in black. And we would look like doormen at a nightclub, but this was at some corporate swanky do. And people would come, and all that, the women would be in their sparkly low cut dresses and looking glamorous, and the gents would be there all dressed up in their smart outfits and best tie and all that brill cream in their hair. And I'd say, oh, marvellous! And it was a night out for them. And then there would be my mate Nigel and I, and we would go, hang on a minute, hold on. Sorry, have you got an invitation? When we would look at their invitations and say, right, okay, I'm afraid you'll have to adhere to the left-hand side of this wall because this has been freshly painted on the other side. And it wasn't. And it was clearly not as scruffy as anything. Sorry, that's just been freshly... And you start telling people, you look official and you tell people what to do. Oh, yeah. And they will do it because they don't know any better. Go, oh, right, sorry, mate. And then we would say to the women as they came and say, I'm sorry, love, it's strip search. They would look at you horrified, and they'd say, "I'm not letting you in until you've strip searched me." And then they would have a giggle, and then you go, "All right, go on in." You go, and they realise you're joking, and they go, "Oh, that's funny, isn't it?" Because we were there just to raise a giggle.
Up here, they would have had their kit on straight away.
Oh, would they? We've got to gauge the audience, haven't you? But yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, well, I'll look at these.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that you just have to tell people what to do, and generally they do sort of especially if they think it's in their own interest.
Yeah, I mean, really, to some point, that's a good thing.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not. It's just funny that you.
Kind of like, if you look at some of the countries that have done really well with this situation, it's the countries that have what you might say compliant public.
Yes.
Like Japan and Taiwan and these places that didn't even shut down. I think they shut down for 2 weeks, didn't they, at the beginning?
That's right. And Sweden.
And everyone went through. They got it all sorted out. Everyone walks around with a mask there anyway because of the pollution.
Yes.
But, it's like back to normal. And they're not having serious problems. So it's kind of like, yeah. And the only reason China's got it is because everyone went back to work early because they were losing out on money.
Yes. Yes. Well,
you've got to get all that stuff out to eBay, you see.
Absolutely, yeah, because if we're not going to be buying it from China in the future, I mean, poor old Huawei, whatever they're called, have gone on the byway. I heard that Nokia are going to sell them some stuff. Now, when was Nokia in the phone business? I mean, like in the 1970s, wasn't it? When they were last pumping out phones, and now instead of
the plastic bricks.
Yeah, that's it. You remember the Nokia stuff? And I gather that the government have gone, okay, of all the technical companies, who's been at the top of? And you've got, Nokia. They've been knocking you about around here for a while. Better give them something to do. I'm sure that they've got technology that is lovely analog. You've got belts and braces and springs and all of that. I'm sure they know how to do it.
Some bloke with a little thing on the disc going. Yeah, that's how they did it.
Yeah, that's how they did it. Drove everyone mad with that one tune. You could have a ringtone, but that's it. Dear, dear.
And the good thing is, when they're in films.
Yes.
When the film's made by
the ring tune, don't you? Yeah, absolutely.
You hear that ringtone go on, you think 90s film.
Isn't it true though? In videos now, in films and stuff, whenever you hear they can't play the tunes that people actually play because it would be copyright. So they all have either very discreet or very nondescript sort of beep beep beep. Oh, that's somebody calling me. It's like, yeah, you never heard that. Where normally that you're in a meeting and it's some loud bit of Slade or somebody or Wham or whatever it is downloaded and used as a ring tune. Do you remember? I don't remember. Anyway,
I don't either. Anyway,
James Bond's phone is a Nokia.
Is it? Oh,
yeah,
right.
I think that was that Sean Connery's though. Sean Connery, he had a mobile phone, didn't he? He had a Nokia one.
Did he?
I don't know. I've no idea.
I have no idea.
1960s.
It's kind of one of those films like, you watch it, but it's tongue in cheek, and you don't really take any notice.
No,
because it's kind of like the action form of a carry-on film, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. That's what I liked about them, to be honest with you. It wasn't too serious.
I enjoyed that because it was not taken seriously.
You could have megalomaniacs taking over the world, and now it's like, well, what would you do in James Bond now? Because you could say, we'll have who's these secret people that are supposed to, Spectre or whatever they're called with the cat going here. Well, Mr. Bond. Now you could have them sitting there saying, we have a special device which will make everybody stay indoors, Mr. Bond. Wearing masks, Mr. Bond. Only going out when we tell them, Mr. Bond. And you think, yeah, we've done that, mate. That's COVID.
Yeah, no. Boris did that.
Yeah, friendly governments have done that, mate. You need something a bit more frightening.
Yeah. So, you should bring back...
hanging.
What's the thing? Some of these games that we lost from television over the years. You know, like what was that one with Brucey?
Oh, a generation game.
Yeah, Generation Game.
Good game, good
Bring
game.
that
All right,
back.
my love. Let's look at the old floorboard. Give us a turn, Anthony. Didn't they do well? What are points,
And the
mate?
other one, yeah.
Yeah, points was a different one, wasn't it? It was the one with the house of cards or whatever it was. Oh. Anyway, we better bring everything to a close, really.
Actually, because it's time for bubbles, isn't it?
It's time for... I haven't got the bubbles. Julia's got the bubbles.
No, I'm saying Bobos.
Oh, Bobos. I don't know what that means.
Yes, time to go to sleep.
Oh, time to go to sleep. Yes, I shall have my injection, don't worry. Nursey will come round. Nursey! Oh. Anyway, lovely to talk to you. I'm glad you're doing well with your bicycles. And look after yourself, and thanks for
saving. I shall let you know
saving.
when the sponsor thing starts up.
Yeah, we'll raise some money for you.
I've got to square things with, you know, the authorities and stuff.
Yes.
Yes, because you've got to register everything, you see, to collect money.
Oh, yes, of course. All right, fair enough.
Say, could you chuck money in a bucket, and then somebody will come along and say, yeah, but who's it going to?
Yeah, but wait a minute, it's my bucket.
Read that on the side there, that's who it's going to, because none of it goes in my pocket.
Yeah, especially if there's a hole in the bucket.
Yeah, well,
with a tube, that goes into your pocket. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Anyway, enough of this gay banter. Nice to hear you, says Ed Loud, and it is nice to hear you. Thank you for calling in.
To hear you nice.
To hear you nice. Good gay, all right. Cuddly toy.
I'll have the one in the end, please.
Anyway, you look after yourself.
Yeah, you too.
Take care.
Take care, mate.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
There we are, Mark Donny McLeod, saving the Vobes. At least we got a phone call in, and all was not in vain. I can take that off now. So I'm going to end the show there. It's been a bit of a strange old one, but hey-ho, that's the way they go. Friday is the next show. Looking forward to any videos that you make, and if you don't get them in time, then no worries. We will be ship ahoy, and you've got a whole week to make some and send them in. Love to see what you've been up to and where you've gone. Thanks very much to Ed Wolf for his views up there on the Lake District. Fantastic. Very envious, in actual fact, for all the jokes. Very envious. Like to go out there and make some videos and all the rest of it. Looks like quite arduous, hard work, mind you. And, of course, to Adrian from TurboStream for the Pembrokeshire, that blue of the sea and the crag of the rocks and the sound effect of the whales was absolutely superb, and loved that very much. Thanks to Mark Donny McLeod for the phone call. Thanks to you guys for typing as swiftly and as fastly as you could possibly do to upset me. Graham Cass says, my phone's a Nokia and it's got a camera and everything. Well, there are miracles in this world. Nigel Sadler says, my son's Nokia went through a complete washing and tumble drying cycle and it still worked. Good gracious. Well, I mustn't knock the Nokias then. And thank you to Judith and to the lovely Julia for administering all the pleasure to everybody out there in the pleasure world of Vobosphere. And Mike Stevens says, certainly did a few hours ago to shape the beard and slippage, thankfully. Not quite sure where that goes. But anyway, look after yourselves, and I will catch up with you very soon. Until that time, panic not. The show is over. We would just like to thank you very much for coming and watching the show. And if you could take your dirty linen with you, we'd be Mary? Who's Mary? Oh, he's a mint. Fair enough. We'd be very much obliged. Thank you. Good night.